Hi guys, welcome to Tango's TikToks. Let's see what we got today. It's Monday morning. It's a good start to the week. Let's go.
Alright, we gotta get a little fruit. Okay, yes. This is it. So, here is the hole in. Show that. Inconspicuous. Tiny little hole in the ground. Honestly, just like a little cave or something. I don't know. That's what I thought it was the first time I saw this the other day. I mean, it's out literally in the middle of nowhere. Under this big oak. But if you actually look down inside, there are stairs down there. I didn't notice this before. Last time I was here, because it was in a rush and it was a lot darker out, but it looks like these stairs used to go up further. So what I find really weird is that all the lights, these lights are on.
What do you guys reckon? Seems legit to me. I would not go as far as he went. Don't think I would even go down the hole. That just freaks me out. I'm too claustrophobic as it is. What was that place for? You just never know.
어디야? 뭐야? 어디야? 또 뭐야? 어디야?
You just never know whether these things are set up or not. That could easily be someone else on the other side just banging on the door. Easily. Why is he there on his own?
Mandy Boswick and her two children, Jonah and Johnny, live in a remote area somewhere in Massachusetts. It wasn't too long ago that Mandy and her family had moved into their new house. This one, unlike their previous home, is surrounded by plenty of wildlife.
Oh, look at them.
For this reason, Mandy had set up cameras around her home to capture all the wild animals that trespass on her property. From bears to bobcats, Mandy has seen it all. However, out of all the footage captured, one has left her on edge. This one doesn't capture an animal, but rather something else. On July 17 of 2022, at around 9 p.m., Mandy is away from home when she gets a notification of movement detected on her property. She immediately looks at her camera's live feed via her phone and is left completely disturbed. This is what she saw. There appears to be someone or something standing a few feet away from Mandy's home. It stands there, seemingly observing her house from far away, as though trying its best to not get caught. But even more strange is the way it moves. There's something in its movement that's just very uncanny. Whoever, or whatever this is, has left Mandy concerned for the safety of her children, more so than the animals on her property. Given that Mandy lives in a secluded area with no one else around,
Alright, I didn't see a figure. Did you guys see a figure in this? I saw nothing.
There was a man named Charles from Chicago who falls in love with this woman, and she has 2 children. They end up getting married, and he becomes a stepfather for the first time. Now he wants to impress his stepdaughters, so he gets them American Girl doll. So he takes them to the store, and they pick out this doll, and they take it home, and the girls love it. They're playing with this doll all the time. Now one day, Charles is in his bedroom when he hears his youngest stepdaughter, Abigail, start screaming. So he runs as fast as he can into her bedroom, but Abigail is just sitting there playing with this doll. And so he goes, Abigail, what's wrong? What's wrong? Why were you screaming? And she goes, I don't know what you're talking about. I wasn't screaming. And this happens several more times. And he starts to suspect that maybe they are uncomfortable with him being their new stepdad, and this is sort of how they are responding or reacting to it. So he says, never mind, I'll forget about it. Until one day, he starts noticing that his daughter Abigail is talking to this doll and having full-on conversations. And when he asks Abigail, what do you talk to your doll about? And he goes, well, my doll, her name is Molly. And Molly says she wants to trade bodies with me, and that I can be the doll and she can be me. And he thinks, Abigail just has this young kid's imagination. So one day, they're sitting downstairs watching TV, and all of a sudden he hears Abigail scream again. Except he realizes Abigail is sitting across from him on the couch. So he runs upstairs into Abigail's room where the screaming is coming from, and he finds the doll just sitting there in her room in a chair. So he realizes this is the doll that is making these screaming sounds that sounds exactly like Abigail. So he runs up, he grabs the doll, and he starts shaking it. Leave my daughter alone, leave my daughter alone. You are not my daughter, leave her alone. And then he realizes, wait a second, this is stupid, this is just a doll. So he sets it down, he walks out of the room, but when he gets to the door, he hears the doll respond, but I'm your daughter, Daddy. And it sounded exactly like Abigail. So immediately he grabs this doll and he says, no more, we're not having this doll in the house. He puts it in a box and he calls up this paranormal investigator and says, hey, do you want this doll? It's doing all this weird stuff. I don't want it in my house anymore. Maybe you can keep it secure or do something with it. So he sends it to this paranormal investigator out in Cincinnati. Except when the paranormal investigator gets this box in Cincinnati, he's like, hey, I thought you were sending me an American Girl doll. And he's like, yeah, that's what I sent you. And the paranormal investigator goes, no, this is a teddy bear. This isn't an American Girl doll. And that's when the father realizes, whoa, this thing got out of the box and put a teddy bear into the box. And it is somewhere around out there waiting. There it is.
first time doing something like this.
Here are some photos taken right before disaster, part 8. This is the last photo ever taken of XXX Tentacion. In this photo right here, you can see him at a motorcycle shop. But just moments after this photo was taken, he went outside to get in his car to leave, and he was killed as he was being robbed. Apparently he had over $50,000 on him at the time. Rest in peace, you legend. This may look like a regular selfie of two close friends, but what happened later this night is super messed up. One of the girls, Cheyenne and Tony, allegedly strangled her friend using this very same belt that she's wearing right here. With friends like this, who needs enemies, man? Wow, so sad. This is the last photo ever taken of Christopher McCandless, aka the man from Into the Wild. His decomposed body was found by moose hunters in 1992. He apparently lived in an abandoned bus for over 100 days. His cause of death was officially ruled as starvation, but the exact cause is still debated. Pretty sad. Here are some photos.
Creepiest video caught on Ring camera PT.7.
Ordinary.
What's the worst thing you can imagine finding in the crawl space of your house? If your answer was not jars of human tongues, then consider yourself lucky, because that's what a woman in Florida found in her basement. Also, this is coming from an episode of the podcast I did that is just the freakiest things people have found in their basement, so listen if you have a morbid curiosity. So in 2020, a woman in Florida was having the foundation of her home inspected when all of a sudden she hears the inspectors start screaming. And it turns out that in a crawl space in the basement, they found these jars that had dates on them, some as old as from the 1960s. So naturally, they cracked them open, probably thinking they were going to be Quaaludes, but inside were human tongues. So the woman starts freaking out like maybe she got this house from a serial killer, but then she does some digging and she finds out that the guy who used to own the house was a professor of oral pathology at the nearby university, and the jars were potentially specimens that he brought home and kept in the climate-controlled basement. But, and this is a big but, the university actually couldn't prove that those specimens were used in his classroom, and they mentioned that it was actually super against protocol at the university for professors to bring specimens home. So it's assumed that the jars were for research, but there is a chance that they were for some other weird reason. Anyways, that is by far not the worst thing someone's found in their basement, so check out this episode.
What is one true crime case that you just can't stop thinking about? I always wonder what really happened to 6-year-old Catherine Corzilius. On August 7th, 1996, Catherine, along with her mom Nancy and her brother Chris, were out running errands. Catherine's dad was Paul Corzilius, who at the time was the tour manager for John Bon Jovi. That day was Paul's birthday, so they were all out looking for a present for him. They all lived on Elder Circle, which is a small neighborhood near Austin, Texas. When they got back to Elder Circle, Catherine wanted to pick up the mail from the community mailbox and then walk home. The mailboxes were only about an eighth of a mile from their home, and Catherine had done this a few times before, so her mom let her. Catherine would take the shorter route home, while her mom and brother would take the longer route around Elder Circle. This way, they would be getting home at almost the same time. But But once Nancy and Chris got home with still no sign of Catherine, Nancy sent Chris to go and look for her. But when Chris couldn't find her, Nancy started searching for her by car. Within minutes, they found her laying in the middle of the road on Elder Circle. She was unconscious but still breathing. According to Nancy, she didn't want to make her daughter lay on the hot pavement, so she picked her up and took her to the hospital. Little Catherine suffered from a fractured skull and never regained consciousness, and sadly, she died later that day. Authorities initially thought that Catherine was a victim of a hit and run, but certain things didn't add up. Where Catherine's body was found was in an unusual spot. Her mom last saw her walking towards their house, but her body was found a little over a mile away from their home in the opposite direction that she was supposed to have gone. Catherine's body was actually found along the route that her mom and brother took to get home, and the autopsy only deepened the mystery. The autopsy showed that Catherine didn't die from a hit and run. Along with her head injury, she also had abrasions on her left shoulder, lower back, right hip, and her knees. The ME found that Catherine had either jumped, fallen, or was thrown from a moving vehicle. One theory investigators came up with was that Catherine maybe tried to hold on to the back of her mom's car on the drive home, but fell off. This would explain the location of where her body was found. But her family did not believe this, so they hired a PI. The PI noted that it was a really hot summer day, and at the time, Catherine's left thumb was broken and in a splint, so it would have been really difficult for her to hold on to anything. And it's likely her mom would have seen her in the rearview mirror. Catherine's family believes she was abducted and murdered. After her death, investigators brought in a canine unit that tracked her scent to a vacant lot 30 yards from the mailboxes, but it was lost after that. This sparked a theory that Catherine was approached by an attacker at the mailboxes, ran into the lot, was caught and thrown into a car, struck in the head, and then was thrown out of the vehicle where she was found. Nancy also stated that it appeared her daughter's body was laid out for her to find. Her hair was smoothed down, her clothes were straight, and her sandals were still on. Unfortunately, there's never been any answers in this case, and it's still labeled a suspicious death. John Bon Jovi wrote a song dedicated to Catherine called August 7, 415. And sadly, in March of 2020, Catherine's brother Chris, who grew up to be a police officer, was tragically killed in a car accident. What is one true crime case that you just...
Anyway, guys, that would be it for today. Let me know what you think of today's video. If you've got any links you want to send me so I can check out, so we can react to them together, please don't hesitate to do that. Please like and subscribe this channel and let me know what you think. And have an amazing Monday. Also, have an amazing week. Bye.